Yeshena velibier, velibier, koldo dido, vek petrili. Ani Yeshena velibier, velibier, koldo dido, vek petrili. Achoti rayati onati tamati sheroshi nimlata pusatirisi seilail. Achoti rayati onati tamati sheroshi nimlata pusatirisi seilail. Ani yeshena velibier, velibier, do fake petrili. Ani yeshena velibier, velibier, koldo dido fake petrili. Achoti rayati onati tamati sheroshi nimlatal putsotirisi seilail. 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 Mima amakim kirati chaya Eli shemakoli shematachanunai Eli shemakoli shematachanunai Mima amakim kirati chaya Eli shemakoli shematachanunai Makoli te matachanunai, Eva amakim kirati chaya, Eli shemakoli shematachanunai, shemakoli shematachanunai, Eva amakim kirati chaya, Eli shemakoli matachanunai, shematachanunai, Eli shemakoli shemakali, Mima amakim, kirati chaya, Eli shemakoli shematachanunai, Eli shemakoli shematachanunai, Eli, 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 Eli. Good Shabbos, everybody. We just sang the words Mima amakim kerati chala, yeah, from the depths, from the darkness, from the pit of despair. I call out your name, Eli Shema, and they say, listen to my voice. So we gather together on this page, on page 8, where we also are asking, we're asking for a voice. We're asking for our voice to be heard in friendship with the divine. We're asking for the divine to help us reveal something about ourselves that we don't yet know. And Shabbat is the one day of the week that we can really tap into soul and space and slow everything down. Slow the body, slow the mind, slow the heart, and let something bubble up that brings more intimacy to yourself and to the world. So let's bring that intention to Higala now on page 8 on the bottom. Gale, 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 na, ufros, habibi alai, et sukat, shlomecha, gale, 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 ufros, habibi alai, sukat, Gale, 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 na, ufros, habibi alai, Page 12, sing a new song, sing a new way, sing a new space, sing a new phrase. Shirul Adonai, Shir Chadash, Shirul Adonai, Kol Haaretz, Shirul Adonai, Baruch Shemo, Basru Miyom Miyom, Yeshuato, Savu Magoyim, tevel ba'timot yadim nami be'eshavim yismechu hashamayim v'tara eramayam omenu yalo salam yachol asher bo ay az yiranenu Yar l'fnei Adonai kiva shmot haaretz yishmot tevel b'tzedek ve'amim emunato ay Page 20.
We continue on page 20.
Mizmor leDavid, Havul Adonai b'ne'edim, Havul Adonai kavod v'adonai, Havul Adonai kevod shemo, Havul Adonai v'adat kodesh, Kol Adonai be seated. Last 6 lines. Last line of Anubikoach on page 22. 6 words, 6 directions. Take a deep breath.
Shem Kevo Malchuto Leolam Vaed Baruch Shem Kevo Malchuto Leolam Vaed Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed
Let's take a deep breath. We have a template for meditation in our Parsha, Vayeshev. Yaakov settles, Vayeshev, literally settles into his new home, to his new place. And this is our invitation to settle into our place, settle into our body, settle into our emotions, our thoughts, settle into the sounds around you. Let your shoulders drop, let your face melt. But this settling, this Yaakov settling, he's bringing home a whole pattern of family favoritism with him. And these crazy, crazy family dynamics, this Shabbos might sound a little familiar as some of us are coming straight from our own turkey tables. Either our families of choice or obligations. We are coming into this place right now from last night, whatever that may mean to you. And so the second piece of the story that is sort of like a meditation instruction is the fact that Yaakov holds the matter in mind. Something happens in the family and he holds the matter in mind. So just take this moment to bring something from that dynamic, something from the tangle and the enmeshment of these dynamics, and take a few breaths and just hold the matter in mind and let that holding loosen up some of the knots in that enmeshment. So let's breathe together.
That week that was, it came, it went. Was it a dream? An alternative week with alternative truths? One prophet had said, I have a dream that one day every valley shall be engulfed, every hill shall be exalted, and every mountain shall be made low, and the rough places will be made plains, and the crooked places will be made straight, and the glory of the eternal shall be revealed, and all will see it together. The week that was, I don't know about you, but I am not served. I am a servant. I am like Chashupha, an ancestor of temple servants. I, like Chashupha, returned from captivity, from the grip of the Zerubbabels of the week, my Zerubbabels. I blasted through blight, Shedepha. I stripped, I raided, I invaded. I plundered through gross, insensitive Tafash. Oh, would I just today come to rest, even on the Pashat, on the plain, the simple meaning of Torah in its essence, in its pure gleaning of the word. Oh, downpour of Shephet, wash me clean from these entanglements of dreams. Was it true? Was it fact? Was it alternative? I don't remember. But that dream, they say, 1/60th of it would be prophecy. So says the Gemara. 5 matters in the world. 1/60th matter of honey, of fire, of Shabbat, of sleep, and of a dream. I look back at the week. Is there anybody out there who can untangle the riddles of the week? That prophet said, I have a dream. And that prophet said, I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I rephrase that. I have a dream that my 2 adult children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. That dream would not be too audacious. Would it be too audacious to dream that? Would it? I enter Shabbat, the microcosm of this world to come, where no dream is too audacious.
Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad Hishmianu el ha'meyuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad l'shem u'tiferet v'letila Shabbat, Penei Shabbat Nekabela. Hit Oreri, Hit Oreri, Kiva Orem, Umi Uri, Uri Uri, Shir Daberi, Kevod Adonai, Allah Ifnecha, Lecha, Lecha Dodi, Lecha Dodi, Lekrat, Lekrat Kala, Lekrat Kala, Penei, Penei Shabbat, Penei Shabbat Nekavela. Lecha, Lecha Dodi, Lecha Dodi, Lekrat, Lekrat Kala, Lekrat Kala, Penei, Penei Shabbat, Penei Shabbat Nekavela. Ay. Lecha Dodi, Lekrat Kala, Yanadai, 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 Shabbat Kavela. Lecha Dodi, Lekrat Kala, Yanadai, 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 Shabbat Kavela. Lo tevoshi, lo tikali, ma tishtachachi, ma tehni, yechesu ani e'akli. Benedetta iratila, lecha dodi lekrat kala, ay, ay, ay. Shabbat kavela, lecha dodi lekrat kala, ay, ay, ay. Shabbat ay, Lucia, Shosayim, Berachako komevalayim, Yasizalayim, Elayim, Yinsofada, Lecha Dodi, Lecha Kala, ay, ay, ay. Shabbat Kavela, Lecha Dodi, Lecha Kala, ay, ay, ay. Shabbat Kavela, Yamin Usmol, Tifrati, Yedadonai Taritzi, Al Yarish, Ben Parti, Ben Esmecha, Ben Agita, Lecha Dodi, Lecha Kala, ay, ay, ay. Shabbat Kavela, Lecha Dodi, Lecha Kala, ay, ay, ay. Shabbat Kavela, ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Lecha Dodi, Lecha Kala, Shabbat Kavela, Lecha Dodi, Lecha Kala, ay, 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 ay. Shabbat Kavela, ay, ay, ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Lecha Dodi, Lecha Kala, ay, ay, ay. Shabbat
Lecha Dodi, Lecha Kala, Yadadai, 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 Penei Shabbat Nekabela.
Hoi v'shalom, ateret bala, gam besimcha uvetzola, tov emunei am segula, voi chala, Shabbat Malka, Lecha Dodi, Lekrat Kala, Yanadai, 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 Shabbat Kavela, Lecha Dodi, Lekrat Kala, ya, 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 ya. Shabbat Kavela, ay, 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 ay.
Kigahavna Deinun Nisyachadin Leila Bechad Hofachi Isyachadat Litata Biraza Raza de Shabari, Shabbat Sachada, Beraza Diechad, Lemishrei Allah Raza Diechad, Raza de Shabari, Shabbat Tisachada. Raza de Shabari Shabbat Tisachada Beraza Diechad Lemishrei Ala Raza Diechad. Shabbos. So, this is the Baruch Hu moment. This is the community moment. This is where, like, oh my God, during dinner last night, I couldn't wait to be here. So complicated. So complicated. But it's also so lovely and wonderful and beautiful in its complexity. So we're here to invite anybody here who's here for the first time to just stand up, say your name, and tell us where you're from.
My name is Camila. Good Shabbos, everyone. Actually, I'm Brazilian, but I live in Queens.
Amazing to meet you.
Hi, everyone. My name's Steve Olson, and I come from Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm married into a lovely Jewish family, and I'm here with my wife, Sophie, and mother-in-law, Jessica. I'm really happy to be here. Thank you.
Welcome. Shabbos.
Great to have you.
Hi, I'm Karen, and I live in Berlin, Germany.
Hi, I'm Jay, and I live in Chicago.
Julie, live in Chicago, and
Marilyn in Chicago.
we're related to Luke by Godney. Mom, Dad, and Grandy.
Thank you. Welcome so much. It's great to.
My name is Yechiel. I think many people know me, but I'm standing and I want to say this is the first time that I'm here from the beginning of the Corona. So I don't know if I need to say Shechianu. This I have to say, ask maybe Abel, but this is the first time I'm here for the Purim 2 years ago.
Big welcome. Really great to have you.
Good Shabbos, everyone. My name is Trudy, and I'm from Florida. And I'm here because my son passed away this week, and I wanted to say Kaddish with you, if that would be okay.
Yes, we're here for you. We're here with you. Cyrus.
Okay, there's still no one new in the Zoomagog.
Okay. Well, welcome. You know what? It's one of those weeks that we have a lot of new people here in person and very few new people in the Zoomagog.
All our regulars are zooming in from wherever they are.
Can we make this microphone a little louder? Okay. But we do have, what do we have?
We're making announcements now, is that what you're saying?
Yes. I'm trying to be subtle.
Oh, we have this incredible Revaya, Hanukkah candle lighting and ecstatic dance with Eliza Rivka, Chazan Basia, and more. Doesn't say when it is.
It's on Sunday night, first night
Sunday
of
night.
Hanukkah. And it's really, Eliza Rivka is going to be settling into Costa Rica, so we're going to be saying goodbye to her in this incredible, like, kind of dance-off. So please come, light your candles, and be with community. And
Shine a light on anti-Semitism.
from the UGA Federation, we're going to have more information.
Again, look at our website. We have no times, no days, but look at our website. It'll all be there. Lighting the Way, Jewish song, art, and activism in the climate movement, hosted by Dayenu. This performance and conversation is led by 4 artists who will fill us with spirit, inspire us to act, and help us reimagine what climate activism can look like. Certainly timely, and I think this, do you know when this is?
December
on the screen.
2nd.
It's on
at
the
8
screen.
p.m.
Great, thank you so much. So December 2nd, online at 8 p.m.
That's, those are announcements, and there are more when you go on the website, but we're here to be in community and to really hold each other up, to stand up together. Let's rise together. Let's just take, as we start the Nigun, while we're singing the Nigun, I want everyone to just look around the room while you're singing, while we're singing. Let's sing together and look around the room. Yai da 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 da. Hi ya da 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 da. Ya da 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 ya ya ya. Hi ya 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 ya. Hi ya da 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 da. Hi ya da 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 da. Ya da 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 ya ya ya. Hi ya 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 ya. Hi ya da da da. Hi ya da 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 ya 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 ya. Hi ya da 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 ya. Hi ya da da da. roll into light, roll into light. Roll into dark, roll into light. Light becomes day, day becomes night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day becomes night. Roll into dark, roll into night. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day becomes night. Ei l'chaya v'kayemet. Tamitim locha leheinu li'olam va'ed. Brucham Shechina Hamariva Arabi. Hey, ay, ay, ay,
In a second, we're going to read on the next page, on page 36, Ahavat Olam. The last line of Ahavat Olam ends, Ohev Amo Yisrael, who loves their nation, Israel. But long before any of us were around, Sidurim were not printed with vowels, so thus what I'm about to say is totally doable. Because lots of words in Hebrew, if you just change the vowels, they mean totally different things. And you could read this as Ohev Imo Yisrael, which for some of us would mean who loves with me, Yisrael, who loves all of the wrestling with me, which I don't know about you, but it seems like a lot of us the past week have needed a little bit of help with the loving part. It's really hard to be patient with everyone in our family, with even the ones that we choose. And what would it mean if this bracha, this blessing that's all about this expansive love, this ahavat olam, in ahava that transcends time and space. It does both of those things in two words. What would it mean if that was also helping us? What if that was not a solo act? That we were getting a little bit of help. That we were Ohev Imai, Ohev Imo, Yisrael. That we were doing this together with someone. And maybe that's the divine, maybe it's one another. But something to think about as we're reading these words, either in English or in Hebrew, whatever works for you. What would it mean to have this framework of having a partner in all the things that it feels like we're doing by ourselves?
אל תסיר ממנו. איי, 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 לעולמים. ברוך אתה, אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. ברוך אתה, אדוני, אוהב עמך ישראל. Shema Yisrael Adonai ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם להיות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם במזוזות ביתך ובשעריך והיה אם שמוע תשמעו אל מצוותי אשר אנוכי מצווה היום. Now if you will listen to my askings that I'll ask you, so I will pour rain upon the land in its season, autumn rain, spring rain, and you will gather your ground. Guard yourself, lest your hearts be seduced and you turn to serve alien gods. Bow down to them, that well of life will be wounded, and close up the sky so that there is no rain. The earth will yield no harvest, and you will be lost from the good land that the well of life is giving you. Put these words on your hearts and your souls, bind them as a sign upon your hands, let them dangle between your eyes. Teach your children to speak of them when you sit at home, when you go on your journeys. Write them on your doorsteps of your house and on your gates, in order that your days and the days of your children may be long on the earth. God promised your ancestors, Adonai Elohechem, Emet, 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 מי כמוך,
מי כמוך,
באלים אדוני,
באלים אדוני,
מי כמוך,
מי כמוך,
נדר בקודש,
נדר בקודש, נורא, נורא, תהילות,
תהילות,
עושה,
לפני Adonai et Yaakov, Umalom Yachazak Mimenu. Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael. Hashkivenu, canopy of peace. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom. Ve'hamidenu Malkeinu l'chaim. Hashivenu l'Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom. Ve'hamidenu Malkeinu l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom. Ve'hamidenu Malkeinu l'chaim. Ufros aleinu sukkah shlomecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu matzilenu atah ki melech hanan racham atah shmar tatenu b'minim Ufros aleinu sukkah shlomecha. Baruch atah Adonai haporei sukkah shalom aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'al Yerushalayim.
V'shameru v'nei
Yisrael
et
HaShabbat לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ וביום השביעי שבת וינפש.
Shabbat Kaddish on page 52. Yitkada v'yitkada shemei rabba. V'yamad yivrach yirutei v'yamlech malchutei. V'chayechonu v'yomecho uv'chayedecha beit Yisrael. Bagala bagala uv'zman kariv yimru amei. Yehi shmei rabba mevorach. Li'olam li'olam le'omaya yitbarach.
Yitbarak ve'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam ve'yitnaseh, ve'yitadar ve'yitale ve'yitalal, shmei dekutcha brichu le'ela, min kol birchata ve'shirata.
Tushbechata v'nechemata Damiran be'alma.
V'imeru.
Amen.
The Amidah can be found on page 56, 58, and the words of your own heart. the chat, and we're going to invite those who are near of healing to be written down in the chat, and also for those of you who are here to just hold in your heart those who are hurting in mind, body, and spirit. We're going to be singing the healing prayer on page 113.
Healer of the broken-hearted, binder of our wounds, counter of uncountable stars, you know who they are.
Harafel shvurei mechabesh liatzvotav uneves bar lekochavi lekulam shmot yikra. There are names on the screen. Please feel free to look at them. Hold them in your heart. There's so many people. We sing together. Amen. Hallelujah. You may be seated.
Shalom, everybody. Use this mic. So good to see this room beginning to fill up again. So one day this past summer, I was walking my dog. Some of you might have heard about my dog because I talk about her a lot. Her name is Nancy. She's this like feral white mutt that we adopted in the fall of 2017. And I ran into another dog walker. Her name is Tracy, someone I really like to talk to. I've met all kinds of great people since we adopted a dog. And I noticed this really interesting tattoo on her arm. And I asked her about it, and she told me that the tattoo was of a Yoruba queen. Never heard of a Yoruba queen before, or a Yoruba kingdom or queendom. And I asked her why that image was tattooed on her arm, and it turned out that some years ago, I don't know if any of you heard of this, Google had this thing where you submit your selfie, and they give you back some image from a major museum around the world. So what she got back was this Yoruba queen. Not a specific Yoruba queen, but a Yoruba queen. And the reason she tattooed it on her arm, she told me, is to remember her own sense of worth, no matter what the world was projecting back at her. So I said, yeah, it sounds like to remind you of your dignity and divinity. And she said, yeah. And from that day on, she called the tattoo lady, the queen, Didi, the dignity and the divinity. So we have, in our tradition, as many of you know, a profound and powerful concept to remind us of our inherent worth. It's called Selamo Elohim, having been created in the image of God. Our very bodies and souls, one might say, are walking mirrors for the divine on this earth. But we forget, don't we? We forget about our own dignity and divinity. We undervalue ourselves, our bodies, our minds, our souls. We undervalue one another. Recently, I've been listening to parts of this book called The Undervalued Self by Elaine Aron. She also wrote Highly Sensitive People, for any of you who might have read that. And she names two basic approaches that we take to one another and our own self. One is ranking, and the other is linking. So in ranking, we often, let's say, compare ourselves to other people. Like, to take a wild example, I might, meet another rabbi and say, wow, they know a lot more Talmud than I do. Or, you meet someone else and like, oh, they know so much more about current events. I really don't understand anything about the world. Or that person has a better voice than I do, like my friend over there. Or that person is prettier, in better shape, or has a nicer home, or a better life. Or you look on Facebook and it's like, compare, despair, compare, despair. I imagine like none of you have ever done this. The list is endless, right? I mean, as many people as are in this room, I imagine each of you could give me like a dozen ways that you compare yourself to one another. It also can go in the opposite direction. I'm really more articulate than my colleague over there, or I'm a better athlete, or lawyer, or rabbi, or doctor, or writer, or artist than that person, or here's one that's really ironic. I'm really more spiritual than that person. Or I'm a better meditator, whatever that means. We could really rank one another about anything. It reminds me of a story, again, about my dog. You think I'm a little obsessed about my dog, and I am. We got her in 2017. I think she was about a year and a half old. She came from Texas. And she was like the most playful dog in the world. She played with every single dog we saw. And I'd sit in the dog run, and I was so proud of my Nancy playing, tail wagging. And after about a year, instead of playing with all the other dogs, she sat by my side and she wouldn't move. And I was like, come on, Nancy, play with the other dogs. And she wouldn't do it. And I started to think, oh my God, I've ruined my dog. Like, what did I do? And I thought the other dogs are better. The other dog owners were better than me. And I found out from my trainer that as dogs get older, they get more selective about who they play with. It's almost like a human being, right? You don't just play with anybody, when you're an adult. And they become more task-focused, like, focus on balls and frisbees and sticks, exactly what happened to Nancy. But until I found that out, I was all about ranking myself and comparing myself to others. So what's the alternative to ranking? Elaine Aron explains, linking is the alternative to ranking, meaning you can actively connect to one another instead of constantly sizing yourself up in relationship to others. You can connect to someone's joy about their accomplishment instead of feeling inferior. Or if they are feeling undervalued, link to how they're feeling and try and raise them up to their rightful dignity and divinity. Or when someone pulls rank on you, so to speak, you can recognize that they're a little insecure and have compassion, but don't belittle yourself. Keep affirming yourself in the face of their belittlement, even if you do it out loud, not in a way that sets you above, or for that matter, below the other person, just in a way that sets you with the other person as having equal value. You can keep your focus on connecting with people with linking instead of your relative status. It's sort of revolutionary if you think about it. Instead of having to constantly prove your worth because you feel insecure, you can do the opposite. Or maybe sometimes what we do is downplay our worth because people around us are insecure, right? So not doing that and not doing that. And even in competitive areas, Aron says, we can enjoy healthy competition and remember the humanity of the other, maybe with a handshake before a game or a handshake after the game. And as it turns out, ranking and linking and and the undervalued self is exactly what's at play in this week's Parsha. Actually, there's a lot of ranking and unfortunately not much linking. It's a little sad. I imagine most of you are familiar with the story of Joseph, either through reading the Torah or maybe seeing the Technicolor Dream Code. The story begins with Joseph as a 17-year-old shepherd assistant to his brothers, specifically the brothers born of the maidservants Bilhah and Zilpah. And what does Joseph do as he assists these brothers, these shepherds? He tattles on his brothers to his father. Vayavei Yosef et dibatam ra'ah el avihem. Joseph is a teenage tattler. Nothing more annoying than that. He is pulling rank over his brothers, increasing his status by demeaning them. And Jacob makes things much worse by explicitly favoring Joseph and giving him a coat of many colors. V'Yisrael ahevet Yosef mikol banav ki ven zikunim hulo v'aseh lo ketonet pasim. Israel loved Joseph best of all his sons, for he was a child of his old age, and he made for him a coat of many colors. Horror of horrors. Talk about family dynamics. Jacob throws the equivalent of a lighted match on a gasoline-soaked rag. And what do Joseph's brothers do? They hate him. They hate him even more. It says, "Vayisneu oto, v'lo yachlu dabro l'shalom." They hated him, and they could not speak peaceably with him. And to make matters even worse, Joseph shares these dreams he has, which sets him at the center of the world, dreams in which his sheaf of wheat bow low. His brother's sheaves of wheat bow low to his sheaf of wheat, or dreams in which the sun and the moon and the stars bow down to him. He's clearly, at least in his mind, the center of the universe. No one is worth as much as Joseph. And you all know what happens. One day when he goes out to see his brothers, actually his father sends him to see his brothers shepherding in Shechem, that terrible place where his sister was raped and there was a massacre of all the Shechemites by the brothers. Joseph goes and they grab him and strip off his coat of many colors and throw him into a pit, right? The ultimate devaluing of Joseph. The ultimate trying to feel better about themselves in the face of their own sense of worthlessness. What a depressing story. This is our Torah, this is our Parsha. Where's the redemption in all this? What is this about? It's like, brother destroy brother and break the heart of their father and lie and cheat and deceive. Why are we reading this story? I think there's an explanation, or at least I'm going to try an interpretation on you. If we take a few steps back, a few generations back to Abraham, if you remember, Abraham had a vision in which God told him that his descendants would be enslaved. How did God know? This was the plan. This was the destiny from the very beginning. Maybe God understood that this family, or just living in a family, was not enough to figure out ethical behavior. Maybe the way the brothers undervalued and ranked each other and sort of played master and slave with one another, and in fact sold their brother into slavery, was a kind of spiritual and emotional slavery that was made manifest in their descendants in the book of Exodus. And maybe these slaves needed to be liberated in order to understand their own self-worth. If you think about all the generations, Yitzchak and Yishmael, Jacob and Esau, Joseph and his brothers, they compete, they lie, they cheat, they deceive, they break their father's hearts. Each one has an overvalued or undervalued self. There's no reprieve. One could say there were spiritual and emotional slaves before they were actual slaves. I just want to take a step back and say, no way do I think that this is true outside of literature. Like in our sacred literature, this sort of karmic reality is manifested in physical slavery or a story of physical slavery, but no way do I think that anyone enslaved in the world is sort of, an expression of their own lack of valuing themselves or each other, right? That's a lack of value by their enslavers. But this is a story in which internal, emotional, and spiritual reality becomes ultimately manifest in the institution of slavery for their descendants. They remain slaves until God redeems them, sufficiently esteems them, and from liberation brings them to revelation for connection with God at Sinai, when they stand as divine reflection. Freed by God's mighty loving hand, they stand in the sands of Sinai, finally becoming in their own eyes and the eyes of one another God's image, a smidge of the divine sublime. Finally, instead of being ranked as worthless by Egyptian masters, God hears their cry and links to them, each one of them, by freeing them and speaking to them at Sinai. And of course, this issue, the issue of undervaluing each other, is so very live in our world, so very dangerous and electric. Consider what happened this week in Brunswick, Georgia. There was an extraordinary victory for the side of valuing the self, valuing a grossly undervalued human being. 3 white men were held accountable for killing a Black man while jogging. Asserting rank, they asserted rank and dominance through violence, but the jury recognized the dignity of Ahmaud Arbery. It gives me just a little bit of hope that our world is changing, maybe. Changing into a world where the dignity and divinity of people whose society undervalues, whether because of gender or skin color or different ability or age or class, or simply, just simply because, will be valued rather than ranked. After all, when we desecrate the dignity of another human being, we are desecrating the image of God here on this earth. Human beings rank each other constantly. We do it to each other, we do it to ourselves, but God, dare I suggest, is the one who links to every one of us, no matter how we are valued or undervalued in the eyes of society. Theologically, one could say that God is the one who looks at every human being and sees a mirror of divinity again and again and again. So think about it. Whether you're standing in the mirror saying, I'm not the right size, remember you're a prize. If you're pulling rank on yourself, remember you're a mighty tank. Give no truck to anyone who says you stank. With luck, you'll get out of the muck and give thanks for who you are without rank. And if you think the other is full of shame and you move into blame, remember you're the same. Love your neighbor as yourself, say the holy rabbis, because the other is yourself. You are me and I am you. The other reflects God as much as you were a holy stew of humanity. For this is reality, authenticity, human capacity. It's not audacity. For this, on this night, I stand here full of grace in your sight, full of thanksgiving, not ranksgiving. And please don't rank this sermon. Instead, move into thanks, because I worked hard to give you this gift for Hanukkah. Did not intend to create a rift between me and you, so don't give it short shrift. She rhymes better than I do. Because me and you were holy on this holy night, seen more deeply because of this coming holiday of lights. Our rights are clear, so don't stand weakly or discreetly. Stand up uniquely, created in the image, because each person in your sight, in my sight, in your sight is full of divine might. that holy, brilliant, divine, sublime mirror, not refined, not perfect, simply human, the human capacity to reflect, the source of all life, no strife, a refraction, no distraction, no subtraction or retraction, a divine conception, no exception. So whenever you feel demeaned, undervalued, ranked as worthless, remember Didi, the dignity and the divinity. Shabbat shalom.
Please rise. Let's all come together. Let's bring our hearts for this incredible offering and this incredible Friday night Shabbat. V'hashevota, el levavecha, ki Adonai, You may be seated, and those of you who are mourning, if you will remain standing, and please share the names, if you are comfortable, of those that you are remembering. The page number for Mordecai will be 116 when we get there.
I never met this man. I wish I did, but Stephen Sondheim.
For my wife and my daughter, Lisa Kish and Gloria Joy Kish.
My name is Judy Sturm, and I'm from Hudson, Florida. Oh, I'm here in remembrance of my son who died this week, William Bally.
I'm Denise, and he was my brother, William Bally.
My father, Stuart.
Director and friend, Janet Arnold Reese.
My uncle, Alan Winderbaum.
My mother, Vivian Esses.
My friend, Aaron Lieber.
Anybody else here? We're also going to show the names on the screen. And as we read these names, we hold them in our hearts. We hold the loss, the trace of them in our hearts. And we gather together, we rise, if that's our custom, with mourners on page 116. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
V'yalma divrach chirutei, v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon, v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, v'agala uvizman kariv yimru.
Amen.
Yehei
Shmei Rabbah v'varach le'olam. Amen.
Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei dikudesha le'ela mikol berchata v'shirata tush bechata v'nechemata da'amiran v'yalma v'yimru
Amen.
Yehei shlam araba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru
Amen.
Oseh shalom imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, v'al kol Yisrael, v'al kol yoshvei tevel, v'imru amen.
Amen.
May their memories be for a blessing. We also share, I didn't share the names, I'm sorry, my son is a little distracting, so. I wanted to share the names of those we are remembering this week and for Shloshim. What are those names? For Rosalind Berlin, Maria de Los Angeles Rodriguez. And the Shloshim, Jenny Martin, Sheldon Tandler, Rosalind Lieberman, Suzanne Warner, Frida Weiss Wells, Gilbert Offenhartz, H. Harding Brown, and L.J. Richmond Jr. We're going to gather for Kiddush. Kiddush is on page 88, I think. Yes, it is on 88. So please rise. We have into this cup of blessing, we have a lot of gratitudes. We are so lucky to have Luke Wygodny on guitar, Jackson Mercer, our rabbinic intern, on guitar and voice and cello also. Shoshana Jedwab on percussion and singing, and sitting in Jerry Corman. So grateful for you. We have Cyrus and Full Stack on tech. Natalia Arad is here behind the scenes doing everything, literally everything. She has 100 arms. Rabbi Mira Rivera for her words. We are so grateful for your incredible heart and words. And Rabbi Diane Kohler asks, wow. I'm trying to say there's no better Dvar Torah, but I'm just linking to the wisdom that you have and trying to kind of just We are moving to this. Do we have other? Yep, that works okay. Great. And if there's anyone I have forgotten, that I thank you too. And we are gathering for page 8, Yom HaShishi. Yom HaShishi, Vayechulu HaShamayim Ve'haaretz V'chol Tzevam. Vayechal Elohim Vayom HaShvi Melachto Asher Asa. Vayishbot Vayom HaShvi Mikol Melachto Asher Asa. Vayivarech Elohim et Yom HaShevi'i, Vayikadesh Oto, Ki vo shavat mikol melachto, Asher bara Elohim la'asod. Savri Chaverai.
Chaim. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pari hagefen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho be'ahavav ratzon hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techila lemikraei kodesh, zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim. Kivanu v'charta, ve'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha, be'ahava u'ratzon, hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh HaShabbat.
Amen. Good job. So thank you to Celia behind the scenes on Zoom hosting. Thank you. And we are going to get us into Hanukkah mode. linda está aquí. 8 candelas para mí. Hanukkah linda está aquí. 8 candelas para mí. Oi, oi, oi. Oh, dica, 2 candelica, 3 candelica, 4 candelica, 6 candelica, 7 candelica. Con alegría y placer, muchas fiestas vou fazer. Con alegría y placer. Oh, oh, oh. 1 candelica, 2 candelica, 3 candelicas, 4 candelicas, 6 candelicas, 7 candelicas, 7 candelicas, 8 candelas para mí. 2 candelicas con almendricas. Cyrus, we have no sound.
Con almendricas y la miel. Una candelica, 2 candelicas, 3 candelicas, 4 candelicas, 5 candelicas, 6 candelicas, 7 candelicas, 8 candelas para mí. Una candelica, 2, 3 candelicas, 4, 5, 6, 7 candelicas, 8 candelas.
8 candelas.